what are we doing wrong? Let's start with what sickle cell disease is. What is sickle cell disease? But I think I really want us to harp on, what are we doing wrong? Is it that we are not having enough information? Or when we get that information, what we do with it is where the problem is? I know government has its own side, but like I said, let's start from the basics. What exactly, Dr. Abigail Dodo, is sickle cell disease?
Okay, so sickle cell disease is a range of pathological disease conditions that cover what we know as SS, which is the severest form. And so that's sickle cell anemia. Right. So when we say sickle cell disease, it refers to abnormalities in the hemoglobin. That's the red stuff in the red cells that help your blood carry oxygen. Right. So there are two hemoglobin. Right. You inherit two. One from your mother, one from your father. And so the normal hemoglobin is hemoglobin A. Right. So sickle cell disease means that you have abnormalities in the hemoglobin, one of which is S. So it could be S and something else. S, C, S, D, S, another hemoglobinopathy called thalassemia.
Okay.
So that's sickle cell disease. But when you inherit both S from both parents, then it becomes homozygous. That means both hemoglobins are S. That's sickle cell anemia, and it's the severest form in the spectrum of sickle cell disease. So it's been postulated that it is an evolutionary change because of the prevalence of malaria in West Africa. So usually it's seen among black people of West African descent and in some areas. Right. So I'm sure you must have heard this say that people that are AA get malaria and severe forms, right? And then people that are AS do not get. So it's said that that mutation that changes it to S is the form of protection by the human being, making changes in itself, genetic changes.
Trying to protect
itself from severe forms of malaria, so to improve survival. And because of the sheer population of Nigeria, of course, that's why the burden is plenty in Nigeria. But it's supposed to be like a protective mechanism that people with AS, because of the changes, they have a relatively normal lifespan, compared to the person with homozygous SS, right? But then they are protected more than the person with AA from severe forms of malaria. So that's the proposed theory why sickle cell is present in Nigeria, West Coast, among blacks, right? So
and that's why maybe we carry our sheer population.
Yes,
is that what you're saying? That
yes.
maybe that's why we carry so much of the burden?
That's part of the reason.
Okay.
Because it's found among blacks. And I don't know that it's still true, but 1 in every 5 black person in the world is a Nigerian. So if you look at the sheer numbers, yes, and then we have slavery, immigration. Of course, there's this thing that everywhere you go, there is always a Nigerian, right? So because it is found predominantly among West Africans to protect themselves from malaria, so you have sheer burden. In fact, the statistics is that 25% of Nigerians have the trait.
25%?
Yes, have the trait. That's sickle cell trait. That's 1 normal and then S. It doesn't form part of the disease. It's the trait. That means you can transfer it to the next person. You yourself will not have, but if you marry somebody or you have a child with somebody that has the trait or is full SS, there's the likelihood that you would have a child that is sickle cell. And then when you consider that some parts of the country, there is what is called consanguineous marriages. You marry people that you are related with.
Right.
So if you have the trait in your family, if you marry someone that you're closely related to, you're more likely to marry someone that also has the trait. So it's part of the reason why you would have a lot of people that have.
So, but can I ask, if we're not the only ones in West Africa. I'm talking about this tropical belt where we have, malaria as an endemic condition. The other countries that are sister states along West Africa, do they also have this?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. In fact, there are variants of the sickle cell haplotype. It goes down to the genetic markers, right? So there is degree of severity, right? And the one found in Nigeria is actually not the most severe form. So they have others. They have the Cameroon, the Bantu, the Arab, the Benin haplotypes, different types. So
even the Arabs have it?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
Yes.
And the one in Nigeria is not the severest.
It's not, I would say it's not, no. But it doesn't mean that Nigerians cannot get it. It's just the type. It's been named after where it was probably first discovered.
Right.
Yes, it doesn't mean that you don't have it in Nigeria. But it just shows that it spreads across other places, not just confined to the Nigerian space. But because of, like I said, part of the sheer numbers and then some other factors. So in sheer number, we would have more Nigerians actually having the burden. In fact, worldwide, like you rightly said, Nigeria bears most of the burden for sickle cell anemia.
Okay, quickly before we go on a break, you talked about the spectrum. How wide is that spectrum? How many types are we looking at here?
Okay, so like I said, sickle cell disease, you have to inherit abnormal hemoglobin, one of which must be S. Okay, so they are different. When we talk about gene is like the blueprint, right? So it has like a code. So the code tells the body what kind of protein to produce, and then the protein determines structure, function, and all that. So there's a replacement of one particular protein that causes all this wahala that we're seeing, just replacing one protein. So it depends on what replaces the protein, right? So we said normal hemoglobin is A, so that's glutamine, and this presence determines the shape and the form and the function of hemoglobin. So it can be replaced with something like valine that will give you S, or some other things that will give you C, will give you D, right? So we have S, SC, SD. Then we have other hemoglobinopathies. That's the hemoglobin now. It's not the structure, it's the number. So you might not have a complete number. So those are thalassemias. So you can have a thalassemia alongside the S hemoglobin. So it's a spectrum. So you must have one abnormal that is S, and then the other one can be another abnormal, whatever abnormality you have. So that makes it sickle cell disease. When you have the two, S and S, then sickle cell anemia. So that's the severest one, because that's the one you get to see all the features. And we say the hallmark is that it affects the hemoglobin, it makes it sticky. Yeah, so it gets stuck in the blood vessels, and blood vessels carry blood too. Everywhere. You need blood in your brain, in your heart, in your muscles, and everything. So if there's no blood supply, you're literally starving that part from vital oxygen, and then you have crisis and all the
complications that come with that. If you're just joining us this evening, we're talking about sickle cell. Because now I'm careful not to say just sickle cell disease, because you just explained to us what sickle cell disease is and then what sickle cell anemia is. Anyway, Dr. Abigail Dodo is here, and she's clearing up some of the misconceptions. We'll come back and talk about what really goes on in the body when someone who is a survivor of sickle cell is in crisis, what really happens, and what causes a crisis, or what could make the conditions of a crisis worse than what it should be, or just from that person being in good health and then the next thing you find them having crisis. We'll be right back. Let's go on this commercial timeout. Do stay with us. The program is Your Health 360.
Stay with us.
Lokacin jin daɗi sai Kivo Krima.
Idan na sha ko lokacin shan dari. Kivo.
Hey, World Cup they come, but never I no agree.
StarTimes S130B plus TV don't solve solar, TV, and StarTimes subscription all in one package.
Power your home and watch all 104 World Cup matches live and stand a chance to win 10 million naira.
StarTimes S130B, solar, TV, World Cup, big winnings.
Buy StarTimes, win big.
Visit any StarTimes outlet nationwide. Terms and conditions apply.
Ya ku masu ciniki, albishirinku gasar Maggi Chicken Flavor ya sake dawowa.
A sayi Maggi Chicken mai dunkule 2 kwaya 50 a samu garabasar guda 10 a kyauta.
Tabbas haka ne, idan kuma guda 10 aka saya, to za a samu garabasar guda 4 a kyauta.
Wato ƙarin ɗanɗano mai armashi, ƙarin nishaɗi, tare da more kuɗinka yadda ya kamata.
A hanzarta maza a je shago mafi kusa domin sayan paketin kunshin gasar Maggi Chicken Flavor kafin ya kare. Gasar na nan har sai kayan sun kare. Da ni da Maggi, haɗuwa mai armashi.
Ina kwana Honey and Banana Connect.
Hello 7790 yawa kawata ta ce allura za ta tafi har kwakwalwata shin ga hakan gaskiya ne?
Honey and Banana Connect.
To ina kasuwa sai yar uwar matar makwabcina ta ce matar da ke amfani da maganin tazaran haihuwa mazajensu za su daina son su.
Honey and Banana Connect.
Ni ce kuma goggota ta ce idan na bayar da tazaran haihuwa tsakanin yarana mutane za su yi tunani akwai wata matsala a aure na. Shin gaskiya ne?
Honey and Banana Connect na nan don duka tambayoyinku. Kira 7790 a kowane lokaci don tattauna da kwararun kan tazaran haihuwa da lafiyar jami'i. Kyauta ne a asirci kuma babu tsangwama. Kira 7790 ko turo sakon WhatsApp ta 09097133400 a yau.
Honey and Banana Connect ku bi wanda ya san hanya.
No be one, no be two, he plenty, this not true. With Cocoa Glow, your skin they glow. Even tone, your shine they show. Aloe Soothe, for soft skin, dry skin repair, no dryness. Made extra hydration for strong moisture. Advanced repair, skin good as new. This is how we do.
Vaseline lotions, enriched with extracts, oils, and moisturizing glycerin. Choose the lotion that gets you.
Oh, yeah, choose your own. Make your skin in the show. Vaseline lotions for you. Ooh, yeah, 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 yeah.
2 drops of lemon, 1 spoon of charcoal, and salt. Wetin you dey mix? Why charcoal scatter put for everywhere like this? Na mixture wey go make my teeth shine o. I wan make my teeth white like your own. Forget this concoction jare. Make you use the new Pepsodent Natural Charcoal Whitening Toothpaste. Polish your teeth white with the new Pepsodent Natural Charcoal Whitening Toothpaste. E get natural charcoal wey dey active and e dey make teeth white well well. E con get lemon essence wey dey clean inside the amount. Pepsodent Charcoal, natural charcoal, whiter teeth.
Jolly Johnny akan titi ke magana. A yau za mu ga kyakkyawar sani da mutane suka yi wa Maggi Chicken Flavor. Na gaba karanto harufan celery.
SEALARRIE celery.
Haba mutumina, ka ce kawai ka sauya harufan zuwa salary. To ga damar karshe karanto mana harufan turmeric.
TURMERIC. Turmeric.
Kin yi daidai ga kwali ɗaya na Maggi Chicken Flavor ki ɗauka.
Maggi Chicken Flavor tare da albasa, celery da kuma turmeric mai canza wasa na.
What do we choose? Milk. What makes us strong? Milk. For school, for play, every day. Milk is the way. Choose milk. Choose milk. Choose milk. Strong body, strong mind. Choose milk.
Choose Milk. Brought to you by the European Union and the Danish Dairy Board in conjunction with Arla Foods.
This June, get more on DSTV. That means with same price, you get more channels, more action, and drama.
Just call me. What more fire?
Pay on compact and watch premium. That's 2 levels higher. DSTV Confirm and Yanga subscriptions get the next higher package. Renew today and enjoy more on us all June. DSTV, your home of entertainment.
All right, we're back from that commercial timeout, still with Dr. Abigail Dodo. Before we went on that break, I said we were going to talk about the triggers. What triggers crisis, or what makes conditions really bad to the point where, you know, someone who was feeling well just a few moments ago goes into crisis?
Okay, so first of all, I would say that crisis, when we say crisis, it means that there's an acute exacerbation. That means a worsening of what is ongoing. So, for sickle cell anemia, the name it's there in the name is anemia. We have a constant level of shortness of blood, right? Because of the background condition, you have sickle cell anemia. So there's constant sickling, and there's constant hemolysis, that's breakdown of the blood, and then there's constant what we call vaso-occlusion, blockage of the blood vessels. So pain is not, the pain that worsens is just a crisis, is an exacerbation, but it's a constant steady state for them. So they're in some degree of pain, some degree of...
Every time.
So that's why we call them sickle cell warriors, because they are fighting with this thing constantly. They're constantly in pain. And then you have crisis, which is an exacerbation of the normal, right? So there are two types of crisis. It can either be a vaso-occlusive crisis. That means there is increased blockage of whatever organ. So the common one we hear is the painful crisis, because it affects blood supply to the bones, and then ischemia, and then there's bone pains. But it can occur anywhere in the body. So it can occur in the brain, and you have strokes. It can occur in the chest.
Even in a young warrior?
Yes, it can. In fact, the young ones, the school-aged ones, are actually the ones more at risk. It can affect virtually every organ. In fact, for a complication that I think maybe has a little bit of stigma to it, is what is called priapism, where they have painful sustained erections that are not associated with sexual arousal at all. And, it has to be taken care of. So every part of your body, right, is at risk. And then we have the anemic crisis, where the hemolysis, the breakdown, is either exaggerated, worse, or they pick up a viral infection called parvovirus V19, which affects the bone marrow that is responsible for the cells, and then it stops producing. And because there's constant anemia, if we have parvovirus V19 infection, we would actually catch up, because our red cells have a longer span. Okay, but they have hemolysis, and then the bone marrow is affected, right? So there are different triggers. Anything that will cause stress on the blood, or in the blood, on the hemoglobin, causing it to have decreased level of oxygen or increased viscosity of the blood, will lead to crisis. So I'm talking about things like dehydration, not having enough water in the body. It will cause the blood to be thicker. If it's thicker, there's more chances of it to clump and cause the vaso-occlusion. Even stress, any kinds of stress, physical stress, things like extremes of heat, extremes of cold, or even emotional stress, right? It affects the body's response. And things like infections, common in our environment, malaria. So that's why they give them anti-malarials constantly, like a prophylaxis, so that they don't get malaria. And then other infections. Now, because of the effect of the vaso-occlusion, it affects their spleen, and spleen is responsible for taking up invading pathogens. Some particular part of pathogens, they have low complement, which is part of the immune system that helps to fight a particular type of pathogen. And so they are called encapsulated bacteria. So they are prone to certain infections. So it will be more severe in them because they have deficiencies in the function of their immune system to fight this particular. And so they require special vaccines. So those infections too. So that's why they get penicillin V, and they're recommended for pneumococcal vaccine. Very important for them. They must get it because their body cannot fight against. These are the commonest cause of infections in them. So infections, malaria, bacterial infections, they're at risk of that. So those will trigger, because it's a form of physiological stress on the body, on the cells, and then it will cause them to have crisis. Like I said, there are different types of crisis. It can either be the painful crisis, the vaso-occlusive crisis, the strokes, the priapism, acute chest syndrome, or even mesenteric crisis. The vessels in the abdomen, it can get blocked and then give them pain. It looks like a surgical emergency because it will resemble someone that has had maybe a perforation and so on and so forth. So there are different types of crisis, and these are the triggers. So anything that will cause physiologic stress or affect the body's ability to oxygenate, or affects the body's water status, it will produce them to having crisis. That's why you see they should also always drink water. We recommend they take 1.5 or 2 times the normal volume of someone will take, so that they keep themselves hydrated, and then the blood doesn't clump, and then it flows freely.
All right, let's go on another commercial break, and when we get back, we'll talk about how you do that, how you prevent yourself from coming down with crisis in a region where we're like 5 and 6 with heat, and then during the dry season, like the cold, particularly at night, and then the stress of the country itself. How do you protect children, especially? We'll be right back. We're talking with Dr. Abigail Dodo right here on Your Health 360. Stay with us.
Ai wasu mutanen ba san dalilin da yasa data suke karewa ba, amma bari ne muku bayani. Kun san idan mai waya na bacci wayan na yin wasu abubuwa da bai sani ba? Idan har hakan ya faru? A wannan sa'in waya ke adana bayanai a cloud backup a sa'in da bacin ke ƙara nisa. Sai ta ci gaba da sabunta manhajojin da ke kanta ko da ba a amfani da ita. Haba mai gida, ai ka san dole in san abin da ke faruwa a intanet.
A sha datar da na sanya ta ƙare.
Jas, ba na gaya muku ba?
Ka kula kada wayarka ta kwashe maka data da auto update. Ka rufe manhajojin da baka aiki da su. Ka rufe tabs din da baka amfani da su a duk lokacin da datar ka take a kunne.
A'a, me ya zafi? Ni fa bayani ne kawai nawa. Ka kula da datar ka don kar waya ta cinye.
More datar ka kuma leave it 100.
Ranar ku da kiyau, Kivo Krima kana bukatar shafe ido. Kivo Krima lokacin da kake bukatar hutu. Dauki Kivo Krima idan na sha ko lokacin shan dari. Kivo Krima, sai Kivo Krima.
Lokacin jin daɗi sai Kivo Krima.
Idan na sha ko lokacin shan dari. Kivo.
Ya ku masu ciniki, albishirinku gasar Maggi Chicken Flavor ya sake dawowa.
A sayi Maggi Chicken mai dunkule 2 kwaya 50 a samu garabasar guda 10 a kyauta.
Tabbas haka ne, idan kuma guda 10 aka saya, to za a samu garabasar guda 4 a kyauta.
Wato ƙarin ɗanɗano mai armashi, ƙarin nishaɗi, tare da more kuɗin ka yadda ya kamata.
A hanzarta maza a je shago mafi kusa domin sayan paketin kunshin gasar Maggi Chicken Flavor kafin ya ƙare. Gasar na nan har sai kayan sun ƙare. Da ni da Maggi, haɗuwa mai armashi.
Mu tuna yadda mama take sammakon tashi da wuri ta shirya mana karin kumallo.
Lallai kuwa ya kamata mu mata wani abu muhimmi. Kyautata wa mahaifiyarka tare da biya mata kuɗin tafiya zuwa birnin Zanzibar a wannan shekarar 2026 a gasar 3 Crowns Mom of the Year. Ka rubuta bayani ta amfani da kowace harafi na sunanta. Ka aika tare da hotunan hajojin 3 Crowns na akalla naira 5,000 zuwa www.3crown.com.ng ko cibiyoyin karban bayanai domin samun damar cin nasara a gasar. Akwai shirya da ka'idoji. Madarin 3 Crowns, lafiyar iyaye mata, farin cikin iyali.
Hey, World Cup they come, but never I no agree.
StarTimes S130B plus TV don't solve solar, TV, and StarTimes subscription all in one package.
Power your home and watch all 104 World Cup matches live and stand a chance to win 10 million naira.
StarTimes S130B, solar, TV, World Cup, big winnings.
Buy StarTimes, win big.
Visit any StarTimes outlet nationwide. Terms and conditions apply.
No be one, no be two, he plenty, this not true. With Cocoa Glow, your skin they glow. Even tone, your shine they show. Aloe Soothe, for some skin, dry skin repair, no dryness. Med extra hydration for strong moisture. Advanced repair, skin good as new. This is how we do.
Vaseline lotions, enriched with extracts, oils, and moisturizing glycerine. Choose the lotion that gets you.
Oh, yeah, choose your own. Make your skin in the show. Vaseline lotions for you. Ooh, yeah.
Hey, attention. Balasa Retirement Center don't open oh. Come buy better phone for just 65,000. You fit finally open WhatsApp, enter Facebook, they snap better picture. Drop that your old phone wey no dey show video because this life, it don't move online. You suppose follow and go the next level. Now your turn. Get ogbonge phone from 65,000 naira with the new MTN Smart Series. E get up to 30 gig free data plus 50% bonus on calls and data join. Get free insurance and free case on top. Hey, wetin you dey wait for? Waka go any MTN store wey dey near you or visit shop.mtn.ng. Go collect your own today. Terms and conditions dey sha o.
Hasken rana in ya fito, sabuwar rana ta bayyana. Ga uniform an shirya mana, kuma ga mu akan hanyar zuwa. Milo a cikin kofi, mai ɗumi ga inganci. An yi shi da malta, Milo. An yi shi da madara, Milo. An sa mishi koko, Milo. Yanda dai ya kamata, Milo. Mama ta ce in shanye.
Milo!
Everybody come outside, oh! It don't happen. Hey!
Cletus, why you dey shout like this?
Go TV don't bust my head, oh! You never hear say decoder plus antenna plus 1 month jolly subscription. Now only 15,000 naira.
You say?
Go TV don't scatter market with their World Cup special offer, oh! With only 15,000 naira, we go carry cha-cha decoder plus antenna plus 1 month subscription. Take torchlight the whole 104 matches for this FIFA World Cup 2026 with correct pidgin commentary. All this go happen live for 4 correct channels for Super Sport on top Go TV.
Hey, this one no be small thing, oh. Make I go arrange my own decoder sharp.
Go TV. Love it.
Customer don't enter shop. I don't see wetin he like.
Photo.
Body don't sweet am. But wallet he say, Oga, calm down. No wahala. With Bill Station Buy Now Pay Later, customer fit carry product today, pay small later. Business go sell more, customer go smile more. Make you download the Bill Station app for Google Play Store or Apple Store. Bill Station, buy am today, pay am small.
Ji daɗin abincin onga don babban dandano da ƙamshi.
Waye ya fi iya wanke hannu kafin cin abinci?
Ni ce.
Mu gani? Lalle kun iya wanke hannu. To yanzu a je a ci abinci. Amma da me ake farawa?
Da baba.
Madalla. Idan an gama sai mu yi na wanke hannu bayan cin abinci.
To baba.
Wai yaushe za a daina wannan gasar ne? Ko dan yaran nan su bi ne kawai?
Ai, koya musu tsafta ne. Gobe za mu yi na gwanin wanke kayan makaranta.
Alhamdulillahi kuwa suna fahimta.
Da tazarar haihuwa akwai isasshen lokacin yin kyakkyawar tarbiyya ga 'ya'ya. Kowa na iya bin tsarin tazarar haihuwa domin lafiya da bunƙasar iyali.
Ziyarci cibiyar lafiya mafi kusa domin farawa ko a kira lambar waya 222 wannan sako ne daga ma'aikatar lafiya tare da tallafin gamayyar ƙungiyoyin Pronet da FEM.
Kyautuwar iyali uba 'ya'ya da ma'uwa.
Mama, yanzu na zan wanke maki fararen kayan nan naki.
To, amma ba wanke su kawai zaki ba. Ki tabbatar kin yi amfani da haifo domin yana cire duk wani takaddarin tabo yana kuma sa fararen kayana su ƙara haske kalkal.
Haka ne, kada ku amince da tabo, ku tabbatar farinku ya ƙara haske kalkal.
Jolly Johnny akan titi ke magana a yau za mu ga kyakkyawar sani da mutane suka yi wa magi cikin flavor. Na gaba karanto harufan celery.
S-E-A-L-A-R-R-I-E celery.
Haba mutumina, ka ce kawai ka sauya harufan zuwa salary. To ga damar karshe karanto mana harufan turmeric.
T-U-R-M-E-R-I-C. Turmeric.
Kin yi daidai ga kwali ɗaya na magi cikin flavor ki ɗauka.
Magi cikin flavor tare da albasa, celery da kuma turmeric mai canza wasa na.
This June, get more on DSTV. That means with same price, you get more channels, more action, and drama.
Just call what more fire.
Pay on compact and watch premium. That's 2 levels higher. DSTV Confirm and Yanga subscriptions get the next higher package. Renew today and enjoy more on us all June. DSTV, your home of entertainment.
Your Health 360, only on Invicta.
Welcome back from that commercial timeout, still with Dr. Abigail Dodo in the studio, and we're talking sickle cell disease or sickle cell anemia. If you've been following us, I sincerely hope you have been. I'm sure you've gotten some information, better clarity on what those words mean and you know the difference between them. Now, while we were off air, I was asking the doctor that, okay, so we've talked about the triggers, and is it the same for those that you said might have the thalassemia? Is it the same type that they have? And before we went on that break, I was going to ask you, sorry I'm rushing you,
No,
but
no
I'm looking
problem.
at the time. Our children that are in school during the heat, I mean, high noon, a lot of schools, that is the ones that even have playgrounds, allow children to go out and play. For those who don't have playgrounds, children are cramped in tight, spaces. And that, of course, is another stress factor where, cramp children up in very stuffy places. How do you protect children who have, the sickle cell condition? How do you protect them better? And in this case, I'm asking you to speak to school management and then parents.
Okay.
Yes.
First of all, I like the way you said children with sickle cell anemia, because I know people must have heard maybe from growing up or them being called sicklers. It sort of has a stigma to it. It doesn't define. We call them warriors because, like I said, they're constantly in pain.
In pain.
So they're not defined by their condition. So they have a condition, but that's not what makes their whole personality. So it's a child with sickle cell anemia. So I like that. I just want to say, I really appreciate you putting it that way. Right. So the idea is for comprehensive health care. We don't want the child to be sick. We don't want to wait for the child to have a crisis. Okay, so prevention, like I say, is better than cure. So there are levels of prevention. But now we're talking about children that already have the sickle cell anemia. Right. So we're going to know what the triggers are, and starting from educating the child. Let the child know that, okay, when it's cold, you should cover up. When you're hot, you should hydrate. And then the child should always have water. Always go to school with water, and should be told the importance, because you are managing the condition with the child. So you're not instructing the child, do this. You are forming a partnership with the child, and you are managing it together, right? So you make sure they know that they have to hydrate. And we're not talking about juices now, or we're talking about plain water. You should have a certain amount. It's been calculated. You should take at least 1.5 liters or 2 liters or 2.5, depending on your age and your weight. And we talked about prevention of infection. So your child must be vaccinated, because it's been found that vaccination has been the number one preventer of mortalities in the 20th to the 21st century. So that, make sure your child has these vaccinations.
So these vaccinations, are they targeted specifically at children with sickle cell disease, or is it routine? All children get it?
They're part of the routine, but children with sickle cell anemia in particular require those vaccines.
Okay.
Because they are more at risk. It's part of the routine.
Okay.
Yes, your pneumococcal vaccines and then your meningitis. It's part of the routine. We make sure those children have those vaccinations. And then we give anti-malarial, paludrin, proguanil, we give them routinely, because malaria is endemic in our part of the world. And so they get that to prevent them from the commonest infections. And then other things, like we said, penicillin V, to a certain age until they're 5. It protects them against pneumococcal infections. And so that's that. We don't want the child to feel like they're sort of different or
invalids
weird.
or something, right?
So we don't say, okay, no, don't let them do anything, let them not play or things like that. They can go about their daily life, but with moderation, right? So we don't want them to feel, okay, no, this is what defines me. I am a child with sickle cell anemia, so I can't do this, I can't do that. No, they can do one or two things, They can even involve themselves in some kind of physical play, as long as it's not strenuous. Because if it's strenuous, your body consumes oxygen. And we know that oxygen, if it's reduced in the red cells, can cause the hemoglobin to change its form, right? So things in moderation. So you want to avoid overcrowding, not just for children with sickle cell anemia, but for everybody. Because overcrowding is number one risk factor for a lot of infectious diseases that can affect not just children with sickle cell anemia, but other children too. And so they can participate in normal activities, but know your triggers. So hydrate, keep warm when it's cold, avoid heat, and avoid emotional stress. Things that will make you, either angry or sad, or would I say heartbreak now, or things like that. Just avoid emotional stress, because it could also be a trigger, right? And be regular on your hospital visits, because people speak with parents and they say, oh, my child hasn't been sick, so I won't come to the hospital. It defeats the purpose of a clinic visit. The clinic visit is to make sure your child doesn't fall sick, not to treat your sick child. That's for emergencies or outpatient. The clinic is to maintain health. And then there are certain, like I said, comprehensive. We don't want the child to be sick at all. So there are certain things that are being done. For example, they are at risk of strokes. So they get what is called a transcranial Doppler, where the blood vessels in their brain, they measure the velocity of flow there. It tells which child is at risk for a stroke, and then the child is placed on a particular medication called hydroxyurea that prevents stroke. So there are different things. It's like comprehensive healthcare, not just, okay, like we do for malaria. We say, okay, go and test, you have malaria, take this thing. Or go and test, you have typhoid, you have, no. We want a comprehensive healthcare where prevention forms a great part of the care, and where things like mental health, care is being offered to them because of the stigma that some people associate with it. Because stigma can cause emotional stress, can also be a trigger for them. So it's comprehensive healthcare, prevention, take your drugs, hydrate, keep warm, prevent heat, from prevent infections, and so on and so forth. So it's like a package of care for a child that has. So schools, of course, it's not like you isolate the child and keep it in a particular place and say, okay, you stay there. Oh, no, you have this disease condition. No, you want to make sure that the rooms are airy. Okay, if there are physical activities, the child can actually participate as long as it's not strenuous. Okay, and I'm sure we're moving away. We're in the era of gentle parenting. So some of these corporal punishments that we probably had are no longer found in schools. I'm hoping and praying. I'm assuming. Yes. So of course, some kind of punishment, be like timeout and all that. Child can still participate. You won't say, okay, because you have sickle cell anemia, I'm giving the rest of the class timeout. You don't get to participate. Sort of like you are discriminating against the child, sort of. So I think those are the things that can be done.
Because in my experience, there's hardly any school you go to where you have a water dispenser, for instance. I mean, being that intentional about children. Yes, parents should give their children water to school. What happens if that water finishes before the child is supposed to, get home? So I was just thinking along the lines of water dispenser. I was telling you off air that there was this lady I got to know. I think she's even gone back to the UK. She told me, when she came into Nigeria, Nigerian had lived all her life in the UK, had sickle cell, some form of sickle cell, and she hardly used to have crisis in the UK. And she said to me the few times she ever had, and as soon as they would give her oxygen, she would feel relief and, just be done with it quickly, the admission. But as soon as she stepped into Nigeria, it seemed like the crises were just coming back to back. And so it just got me thinking right now about the proactive measures that we take as a society, especially for children who cannot protect themselves enough in such situations, because an adult can actually take an informed decision that, look, it's not favorable for me out there, it's too hot, I'm not going to the market, or I cannot even go to the office right now, I'm going to call it in. But children don't have that kind of should I use the word wisdom? Yeah. They want to play, they want to jump out no matter how hot it is and all of that. So I was just thinking along the lines of how proactive we are concerning children like this in our schools. And well, let me open up the phone lines. I have so many questions, but it's not about me, it's about those who are listening. I know there are a lot of people who are listening, but you've not answered the question about the thalassaemic type. What is it, the same type of symptoms or signs that they would see when they go into a crisis, or is there something else? But please hold your answer maybe in your closing, because I want to call out the numbers right now. You can call us to speak with Dr. Dodo, and the numbers are 081 40989 and 07087 989. Once again, that's 081 40989 and 07087 989. Good evening to you, Victor Sule and Ruben Chat. I hope I called that right. In chat. Ruben in chat. I hope I called that right. Good evening to you too. All right, so I come back to you, Dr. Abigail. If we get a call, we'll take it. Okay. So yeah, the question about the thalassaemic type, is it the same type of sign one is likely to see?
They are both hemoglobinopathies, abnormalities of hemoglobin, right? And I think we discussed a bit. For sickle cell anemia, sickle cell disease, it is a disorder that involves the structure of the hemoglobin, while for thalassemia is the number of chains, because for the hemoglobin there are the alpha chains and then there are the beta chains, right? For sickle cell disease, it affects the structure of the beta globulin, while for thalassemia, it affects the number. There are 4 alpha chains and then 2 beta chains. So it's a range of symptoms, right? It can, you can see either mild symptoms or asymptomatic to severe symptoms. It has anemia attached to it, so it means that the level of blood will be low, right? Because of the breakdown of red cells. So you can have a child that would constantly be breaking down cells, so would appear jaundiced, yellow, would appear pale, right? So it's similar to some features of sickle cell anemia, right? So because of the constant breakdown or low level of cells, it means that the bone marrow has to produce more cells. And so that's why you see some certain features you see. Maybe we call it skull bossing, because the marrow is increasing in function, trying to meet up with
the demand.
Yes, with the demand of the repeated hemolysis. So for thalassemia, it depends on which one, alpha or beta. So it's a broader spectrum of disease compared to even sickle cell disease. So there are different features. So the features might be similar, right? But there are things that would help you differentiate apart from the blood test, even the physical features. There's a particular type of thalassemia that has a particular feature or fishes that we see. So if you see those things from the history, from the type of anemia the child is having, the recurrence and all that, and from when it started. For example, for sickle cell anemia, usually they have a certain type of hemoglobin that helps them with oxygenation. It's called fetal hemoglobin in utero as a fetus. Now this disappears as they grow older. So usually it almost completely disappears by 6 months. Now that has a greater affinity for oxygen, so it stabilizes the red cell. The red cell doesn't clump so much, but by the time it starts disappearing, that's when the features for sickle cell anemia start presenting. And that's why from 6 months you see them complaining of bone pains, they start having swelling of the foot. That's because the fetal hemoglobin has now decreased to minimal levels, and then the HbS, the abnormal hemoglobin, is now being produced, and then it starts producing features. So like I said, the age at which they start presenting will give you an idea, and then the type of fishy, how they look, their stigmata that you would see, give you an idea what it is. Yeah.
There's something instructive I think you said to me off air too that I think bears repeating. There was something we were talking about that led up to you talking about, because the test is so expensive, to really know what type of sickle cell disease someone might have, that people, for instance, who take some certain medications and find that their eyeballs go yellow might, be people who need to actually talk to their doctor because they might have some sort of sickle cell disease?
Okay, no, we're talking about GCSPD.
Okay.
Yes, which is not a hemoglobinopathy, but it's something that would affect your red cell, because there are different things that will affect the red cell. So what we're talking about is what affects the hemoglobin, but then there are others that will affect the enzymes that the red cell needs for survival.
Okay.
And so they will have repeated hemolysis too. So they will have repeated jaundice. In places where things work, we have newborn screening, routinely done for every child. You screen for diseases that are life-threatening or life-altering, but will not show until the child has grown. We have newborn screening in Nigeria, but it's not routine.
So what determines that screening?
Newborn screening is for all newborns.
I know, but if it's not routine, that means, do you demand for it? What informs the screening, since it's not routine?
For
especially in our public hospitals.
Hospitals, newborn screening is available in the context of research. So there are places that research is being done, maybe to find out the prevalence or the burden. So it's available in places where that is being. But in our environment, usually prevention is what I would recommend. So like, I think we are all aware, clergy people and all that, there's the call for knowing your genotype. So that's a form of screening. You prevent it from happening. You know that you are a carrier before you meet somebody you want to marry or someone you want to have a child with. So that's really what is available here, because newborn screening is not readily available. You can do the other prevention by making sure that you know who you are having a child with, making sure that you're not placing your newborn or your future children at risk, because we've heard about it that the chances of sickle cell anemia, if you are AS and your partner is AS, there used to be this knowledge that maybe it's, if you have 4 children, 1 will be AS, 2 will be AS, 1 will be AA.
Mm-hmm.
So that's wrong information. I am happy that people are correcting that. It's just the chance for each pregnancy. It's the chance for each pregnancy that you have. You have a 50% chance of having a child that has the homozygous. So if you know that before time, you would take steps to prevent or to not have a child with someone that places your future children at risk or actually having homozygous SS. I think that's what we can do, because it's not available. Newborn screening is not available unless in places where, research and all that.
Is it true, we're running out of time, but is it true that there's a cure for it right now?
Yes, there is a
There are a
cure.
lot of people talking about the cure.
There
So
is a cure.
seems like, oh, now I can marry whoever I like because there is cure.
There are ways, should I put it this way, ways around it. It doesn't really sound, but there are measures and steps people are taking. So there is a cure, right? Because you can change the bone marrow, which is the source of the red blood cells. So a bone marrow transplantation is the cure. So what it does is that it ablates or it destroys your bone marrow that produces the sickle cell.
Sickle cell.
Yes. And replaces it with a donor. So the stem cells go and they take over your bone marrow, and the cells they are going to produce would not be. Right. And then there are gene therapies.
That sounds like a pretty expensive
It is expensive. It's available in Lagos University Teaching Hospital presently, I think. And it goes for, I think, about $15,000. So depending
that's
on...
a lot
yes,
in Naira.
But it is curative. Yes, it has its risk because they are taking over your bone marrow, so they have to kill your bone marrow cells. So there's the risk of the procedure itself, but it is a cure. And there are other, I think, gene therapy, where they go and they sort of switch, they cut off the abnormal gene and they sort of like correct it. Yes, so that is available in the US. I don't know that it's commonplace, but it's something that's been approved, gene therapy. So not available here, but it's something that if you want to, you can look into. Like you said, very expensive, and our health coverage for those procedures here is almost non-existent. So that can be done. There's also what is a standard of care in developed countries, hydroxyurea. It helps your body to produce fetal hemoglobin, which we talked about, it being more stable, have more affinity for oxygen. So hydroxyurea is standard of care in a lot of places. Also available here. So children that have repeated crises, repeated needs for transfusion and all that, they get that. People that have had strokes, right, they get hydroxyurea, and it helps to reduce the crisis. It helps to reduce the need for blood transfusions and all that. So that's something also you can, apart from the folic acid and paludrin that they give, there are other therapies that are in place that would help, improve quality of life and prolong lifespan.
So we've run out of time, Dr. Dodo, but Usman Isa Bilal, I think I already asked the first part of your question, but he's asking that if sickle cell blood is given to him as transfusion, I don't know how that can happen. What would happen to him? So I think he's asking, can a transfusion like that actually change the system of someone who gets it?
Okay, no, it would not. But let me first of all say that it is virtually impossible for you to get transfused blood of someone that has sickle cell anemia, because the anemia is there. Before they transfuse blood, you have to check the level of blood of the person donating the blood.
Right.
So they have anemia. So most often than not, the blood level will not be up to the level that will be acceptable to accept a donation from. And blood has lifespan. So if you are transfused with excess blood, even if you can test and still see the sickle cells, but the cells will die after their lifespan, and then you go back to producing your own cells.
Your own cells.
So no, it's not contagious, it's inherited.
Okay.
You cannot catch sickle cell disease.
Dr. Abigail, I wish we had more time. Thank you so much. You've been listening to Dr. Abigail Dodo. We've been talking about sickle cell disease, which the world commemorates every June 19th. Today is that day. I don't know if you have a child or an individual who is a warrior. Like you heard the doctor say, it is a condition where the person is always in some level of pain, it will help for us to be more empathetic and also see how we can be more responsible in decision making, especially when it comes to things of the heart. Dr. Dodo, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
For being here.
Yeah.
Well, until next week when we hope to come your way again on Your Health 360, remember what we've talked about today. Let's be more responsible and more empathetic. Stay healthy, remain victorious.
Your Health 360.
Oh yeah, shoppers, make una hear correct gist. Maggi chicken flavor promo don land o.
Buy Maggi chicken flavor 50 double cubes pack and get 10 extra cubes free.
Yes o, and if you buy small 10 double cubes pack, you go get 4 cubes free.
Na more rich chicken taste, more enjoyment and more value for your money.
Rush go your nearest shop now and ask for Maggi chicken flavor promo pack before e finish. Offer valid while stocks last. Me and Maggi, so good together. Oh yeah, shoppers, make una hear correct gist. Maggi chicken flavor promo don land o.
Buy Maggi chicken flavor 50 double cubes pack and get 10 extra cubes free.
Yes o, and if you buy small 10 double cubes pack, you go get 4 cubes free.
Na more rich chicken taste, more enjoyment and more value for your money.
Rush go your nearest shop now and ask for Maggi chicken flavor promo pack before e finish. Offer valid while stocks last. Me and Maggi, so good together.
Lokacin jin daɗi sai Kivo Krima.
Idan na sha ko lokacin shandari, Kivo.
Hey, what cough they come, but never I no agree.
StarTimes S130B plus TV don't solve am. Solar, TV, and StarTimes subscription all in one package.
Power your home and watch all 104 World Cup matches live and stand a chance to win 10 million naira.
StarTimes S130B, Solar, TV, World Cup, big winnings.
Buy StarTimes, win big.
Visit any StarTimes outlet nationwide. Terms and conditions apply.
Jolly Johnny akan titi ke magana. A yau za mu ga kyakkyawar sani da mutane suka yi wa Maggi cikin flavor. Na gaba, karanto harufan celery.
SEALARRIE, celery.
Haba mutumina, ka ce kawai ka sauya harufan zuwa salary. To ga damar karshe, karanto mana harufan turmeric.
TURMERIC. Turmeric.
Kin yi daidai, ga kwali ɗaya na Maggi cikin flavor ki ɗauka.
Maggi cikin flavor tare da albasa, celery da kuma turmeric mai canza wasa na.
Invicta FM.
Country hard. Now because you never hear correct music. Shake body forget say you never pay your landlord rent. Any plans where you they get for my brother, make you cancel. No way.